Hot news: Super Bowl Atlanta bracing for nightmare matchup. Fort Worth Star-Telegram. January 19, 2019, 0:44 p.m. Coming off 2 straight trips to the playoffs, the Atlanta Falcons had high hopes of becoming the first true home team in Super Bowl history. Well, those plans were dashed before the leaves changed colors. Now, the city is left with a nightmare of a potential matchup as it prepares to host the NFL title game for the 3rd time. New Orleans versus New England. For the most comprehensive local coverage, subscribe today. Lord, please don't let there be a Saints-Patriots Super Bowl in Atlanta, an apparent Falcons fan wrote on Twitter, expressing the sentiment of the entire ATL in less than 280 characters. It very well could happen. On Sunday, the Saints will host the Los Angeles Rams in the NFC Championship game. As soon as that's, the winners will head to Mercedes-Benz Stadium for the February 3 Super Bowl. All of Atlanta is holding its breath, hoping it can exhale rather than hold its nose for the big game. I don't even have to watch the games this weekend to know that this year's Super Bowl is gonna be Saints-Patriots because the sports gods hate Atlanta that much, said another post on Twitter, filled with dread. Indeed, a city that has endured so much sporting heartbreak can sense what's coming. The Saints are the Falcons' most bitter rival, a twice-a-year NFC South opponent that already has some pretty big bragging rights over Atlanta. New Orleans won the Super Bowl nearly a decade ago. The Falcons are still without a championship, though they have only themselves to blame for that gaping hole in their 53-year-old trophy case. 2 seasons ago, of course, we all know how the Falcons-Patriots story ended. Tom Brady directed a comeback for the ages, leading New England to a 30-28 victory in overtime. The memories from that, a couple of months after the game, Boston celebrated Falcons Day on March 28. You know, even down in the Big Easy, they couldn't resist the chance to pile on. A shop on Maggot. The Falcons returned to the playoffs last season, only to lose a heartbreaking divisional round game at Philadelphia to the eventual champion Eagles. Still, it looked perhaps that Super Bowl disappointment was merely a warm-up to the city's greatest sporting triumph, a title that could be celebrated right at home. Atlanta fans looked. Then came a rash of season-ending injuries and a 5-game losing streak that sent the Falcons tumbling to a 7-9 record, their worst since 2014. They lost both. New Orleans romped to the best record 13-3 in the NFC, though Falcons fans were feeling a bit hopeful when Philadelphia raced out to a 14-0 lead in the divisional round game last weekend. Much like Atlanta's lead in Super Bowl LE, it didn't last. New Orleans rallied. Now, with one more win, the Saints will head to Atlanta seeking their 2nd championship. Talk about rubbing it in. The NFC champion will use the Falcons training facility in suburban Flowery Branch for its practices. As in, it's all a bit too much to bear. Speaking foremost in her city, Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms said she was looking forward to a game that featured anybody other than the Saints. I know there's going to be a bounty on my head for saying that, she said in an interview with These Urban Times. But, the mayor walked back those comments at the start of a news conference to discuss Super Bowl preparations. Before we get to the real stuff, let me explain. It was a joke, Bottoms said. But I don't know, a nightmare scenario, indeed, for the ATL. Paul Newberry is a sports columnist for the Associated Press. Write to him at Newberry, January 18, 2019, 03:53 p.m. It was Dallas Cowboys coach Jason Garrett who made the decision to take the offense in a new direction with the firing of coordinator Scott Linehan, according to sources. Doug Nussmeier. For the most comprehensive local coverage, subscribe today. Real-time updates and all local stories you want right in the palm of your hand.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.